Man sees an apple. And his mind gives rise to thoughts. And thoughts are seeds that grow and multiply into more of the same. And among the myriad of thoughts, ego. It thinks itself clever. It thinks itself savvy. It thinks itself, and in thinking itself, it thinks of itself. And the more it thinks of itself, the more selfish it grows. And the more of its own pleasures and desires it pursues. And it grows greedy. A man sees an apple, and his mind gives birth to myriad thoughts. But now more of the thoughts of self only have grown and produced more thought seeds, and so now his mind is filled more with thoughts of self. And so he sees an apple, but does not stand in awe of it, does not marvel at its design, the mystery of life before his very eyes. His eyes are sick. His eyes are clouded by the cataract of greed. And greed directs his action and thought. And he thinks only of profit. He thinks how to maximize profit. And so he adds things to the apples to make them bigger. More expensive. And so he looks for ways to grow the apples cheaper and to sell them for more. And so to cut out production cost, he grows them as a monocrop. He grows them in concentration, apples for acres, apples, and only apples. And the monocrop depletes the soil of very specific nutrients. And so he has to fertilize it. And the monocrop draws concentrations of pests, and so he has to spray pesticides. And little by little, the soil dies, and the man's eyes get clouded more still. And he can no longer see clearly. But he cannot hear the voice of reason, for he has developed tinnitus. He only hears the voice of his own ego ringing in his ears. And he grows angry when others speak. And so his faculties grow weaker and his ignorance grows stronger. And so his heart is poisoned by greed, anger, and ignorance. And he no longer knows himself. He has forgotten himself and forgotten others. And having forgotten that he and others are of the same essence, and he sees that the other has more apples, and so he wages a war. And when he dies, he is reborn in a world of war. He is reborn with no eyes and no ears. And having no eyes and no ears, he dies again. He dies 100 deaths, 1,000 deaths, 1,000,000 deaths. He dies over and over and over and over. He is born into a world he has created and dies because he cannot see that he is the architect of his own hell. Having forgotten himself and having forgotten others, he has poisoned himself with greed, anger, and ignorance.